Thanks guys for having me. I really appreciate being able to present to you probably something that we don't often think about. And we're talking about accessibility today, and it's really great to have so many people in the room today to kind of maybe find out a little bit more about it, how it can help them. If you're a developer, what tools are out there to help you? I'm going to be moving around a bit, so I apologize to the cameraman up there. But we're going to try and get through a fair bit of content, probably because I'll lose my way and I'll have to pick it up somewhere. But yeah, let's get started. I have a clicker, I've been told, so. Okay, so here we go. Do you all know that last week, or a couple weeks ago, 21st, was Global Accessibility Awareness Day? Oh, it's scratching, isn't it? That would have been so annoying. Am I still scratching? Okay. Okay, thanks, because I'm so glad someone said that. It would drive me nuts too. Okay, so Global Accessibility Awareness Day. Did anyone know that was on? Yes, we had a few people. Excellent. Excellent, that's fantastic. So Global Accessibility Awareness Day is it's in its third or fourth year, I think, where we challenge ourselves to, how can I explain it? Think about the people where digital accessibility impacts the most. So one of the challenges is going mouseless for an hour. Am I still scratching? Go mouseless for an hour. Start using a screen reader. Maybe do some captioning on a YouTube video. It's just to get people thinking about digital accessibility, and it's a great opportunity to introduce that maybe where you work and introduce people to the idea of accessibility, being an accessibility champion. So that was a really great event. The accessibility framework. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of the accessibility framework as it is mentioned in a really great book called A Web for Everyone. If someone came to my UX Brisbane talk last year, I talked a lot about that. WordPress accessibility plugins. We're going to be talking a little bit about that as well. Tenant.io, which again hooks into WordPress. Very good tool to test your accessibility on your website. The bane of all evil, CAPTCHAs, okay? Someone like me who's a cognitive disability, I am ADHD and dyslexic. CAPTCHAs just do my head in. But I have to say, they are getting better. But we're going to have a bit of fun with that, and there might be a drinking game involved, so be careful. Captioning and alt text, basic stuff, and I'm going to go through 3 cool tools right at the end. Okay, you guys like memes, right? So I did put a sneak peek up on this on Twitter last night because I basically did my slides last night and this morning. So this was a kind of good inspiration to get started. So if anyone recognizes any of these things, they're very accessibility related, but you can have a lot of fun with them, and you got to have a laugh at yourself sometimes when you're doing this kind of work. So this is a short video that was prepared by UX Mastery. Did anyone see this? This is called Everyone is Different. Now, if it's all right, I'm going to play this video just because I think it's a wonderful introduction for people understanding accessibility and digital accessibility. I'm going to put the captions on if I can as well.
Everyone is different. We live, work, play, and interact in our own individual ways. Many of our experiences are influenced by our senses and our situations. In the online world, this means how we see, hear, move, and think can vary greatly. That thing you just did on that app, someone does that in a completely different way. When you're planning your next digital creation, think about your audience's preferences and how varied those experiences may be. Don't cut someone out just because you haven't prepared for the way they might interact with your creation. But most of all, make it easy. This is what being inclusive is about. Making sure that everyone gets to do what they want to in a way that suits them. Here are a few things to keep in mind. Some people may have 20/20 vision, but some might find their app blurry or may see colours a bit differently from your reading. Some folks might need to bump up the text size a lot to read it. And some people may not be able to see it all and will listen to content read out aloud to them by a screen reader. So, make sure you have enough contrast. Let your text really pop. Use a bigger font, make it easy to see and easy to change when needed. And code it correctly so that it makes sense when a screen reader reads aloud. If you're using sound, not everyone will do it, and some will want to turn it off. So make sure you're providing an equivalent way to get the message across, like a transcript, captions, or sign language. We all move differently. Some of us can easily use a mouse or swipe on a touch screen, but not all people navigate in the same way. Some people use the keyboard to go through everything linearly on a page. Others might use a head stick or an eye tracking machine to perform that same action. Some will need more time to get things done, and for some people, it might hurt to move. So make it easy to get around your creation. You should be able to use a keyboard as well as a mouse to perform any action. Not everyone will understand things easily or in the same way. Every brain is wired differently, so some people process information faster or slower than others. Some people understand information better when they hear it compared to when they see it. Others may find it difficult simply because your language is not their language. And some people just might need more time to process information and act on it. Don't rush them. Write your content so that it's simple and clear. Make it as obvious as you can. As creators of digital experiences, our mission is to make sure our users can do what they need to do. We're all different, and we should respect those differences in ourselves and in others. So plan for their success. Be inclusive. That thing you're creating that you want them to use, build it to help them be awesome. They'll love you for it.
Be awesome. Everyone is different. I really like that video, and I hope it helps some of you understand the wide spectrum of people that accessing digital content online can affect, because everyone really is different. And when we talk about accessibility, we talk about meeting the needs of the end user. You know, we don't make websites for ourselves, we make them for our clients. And who are our clients? Our clients can be varied, and that's always important to think about. Okay. Now, when some people go into and work on accessibility, and maybe they just kind of get their heads around it, they have the best intentions, but unfortunately, it doesn't always work out the way they want it. So something obviously is not right in this picture. We have a Braille sign, but depending on I'm trying to explain it. The door is locked, and if it's green, it's open, it's red, it's locked. But how would someone who requires Braille to be reading it, how are they going to know? A bit problematic, I'd say. This one's a classic. I really like this one. Yeah. As you can see, whoever's put this ramp in has obviously abided by every single council code, city code that they have. They've done a fabulous job. It's well marked. It's got wonderful access down to the street. Unfortunately, there's a large traffic island right in the middle of the street. Now, if someone was using a wheelchair or a pram or anything like that, they're going to have some problems. Are they going to have to wheel their way down, around, onto oncoming traffic? Yeah, not really well thought out. Good intentions, could have executed a little bit better. What I want to talk to you initially about is what's called the accessible framework. And this is put together in a book called A Web for Everyone. So I'm not going to hang around too long. We're going to go through these very quickly. But I think it's going to be a very good introduction to start thinking about accessibility. So number one, people first. It's designed for differences. So when we talk about people first, what we're doing is we're talking about that everything begins with the user. It begins with the user. So we must consider our audience. And the sites are to be designed with the needs of everyone, of the audience in mind. Okay, what are we doing? We need goals, right? We do need goals when we're putting our websites together. People enjoy products that are designed for the audience and guided by a defined purpose and goals. Have a clear purpose. Start with that straight up. Design for clarity and simplicity. And think accessibility first, if you can. Standards. In accessibility, standards are important. Some people say they're everything. I'm not one of those people. I think you can get a lot of practical benefits that sometimes fall outside of standards, but they're there for a reason and we do follow them. So what are your goals for your page, the product, the whole site? Hang on, next one. Technology changes, and it's sometimes difficult to keep up with that pace of change. Assistive technology is often very vast and complex. There's no catch-all for meeting the needs of everyone in a precise way. Look, grandma can do it. That's what we want. My grandparents, they're getting on a bit now, but they like to use their internet banking. But my grandfather, his site's starting to go. He's having trouble getting it, but he can enlarge the text. The site is a lot easier to navigate than it used to be. So if everything works and there's an easy interaction, then you're doing your job right. You don't have to overthink it. Just make it easy. Make it simple. Use clear language. We want universal interaction. Wayfinding. Essentially, it comes off the back of making things simple. So if people can follow a path, they know where they start and where they want to end, that's going to assist them in, number one, knowing where they are at each step of the way. There's a quote here, and I'll read. This is from the book. It says, "Give up on your users, and you'll find that they'll often give up on you very quickly." Presentation. What we're showing them has to have a meaningful end. Clutter kills, so just don't do it. Make everything adjust in a uniform way. It scales, when a website can scale to the screen size or the assistive technology that you may need to use, that's going to help a lot of people. Universal design. Plain language. Now this affects me, someone with a cognitive disability. I will lose focus very, 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 very quickly if it just doesn't make sense. And again, if you're not holding my information or my concentration, then I'm out of there. I'm going somewhere else. Think about the kind of reading level, the audience that you might be providing. Do you envision that 12-year-old girl from Wagga? Maybe looking at you. We talked about this before. Going to your site to work on her assignment. That's your audience too. Think about the power of universal symbols. Obviously, they are designed to be inclusive. Images require alt text, and if you make videos, caption them for the deaf and hard of hearing. I'm going to go into some tools about that later too. So it's a classic, isn't it? It's a win.
This is the third time.
Is it?
This weekend.
Well, it is. That image itself is a universal image now. That's what we want to achieve for our clients, for our customers, for all the people visiting our site. Doesn't matter what kind of abilities they have. We want everyone to do this. So you're meeting their goals, the product meets their needs. You're killing it. That's what we want. Okay. WordPress time. That's what we're here for, right? We love WordPress. In terms of accessibility, they're okay. They've done a lot. They've done a lot recently, and they must be congratulated for that. But here are some 4 topics that I want to talk about on why you can't just rush into that theme and changing something up that you think is going to work for your users. Number 1, many themes are not accessible. Now there is a tag on the theme browser in WordPress.org that you can now find accessible themes. A lot of them use the Genesis framework as a backend, and yeah, it's getting better, but just be aware of that. Many will not pass WCAG 2.0 AA, which is the web accessibility current standard that you really want to achieve, especially for government. All government sites in federal government must meet those standards at the moment. Many plugins are not accessible, and evaluating each can take quite a bit of time. The first one that I really want to talk about, and I don't know if anyone's used this before, it's by a fellow named Joe Dolson, the WordPress Accessibility plugin. If you're going to install any plugin for accessibility, this is where you want to go first. It's such a fantastic tool. I'm going to go and get my clicker back. Here's some features, and I'm not going to read them all out, but here's what it adds. Skip links, defining the language and text direction, outlines to the keyboard. I actually just activated that on my site today. I think that's one of the new features. It will make your site high contrast by clicking a button. It makes your site more keyboard friendly. Obviously, you'll need to do some testing to kind of tweak it yourself, but there are some really great features all in one plugin, which is really great. So here's what it fixes. Now, some of you will go, okay, that looks good. I could do that. And you can. You can with this plugin. If you do nothing else but install this plugin on your WordPress site, you're going to make your site just that little bit more accessible, and you'll learn a bit more about it, and it's very easy to get into. So I definitely encourage you all to check it out. I did have plans to actually show you what it's like in the back end, but I'll come back if we have time. Here's the other one. Now, this is developed by one of the guys that works at the Paciello group. I can't remember his name is right. And Joe Dolson. So this is a plugin that monitors your website for changes in the accessibility conformance. So you can have it checked weekly, daily if you wanted to, and it will send you an update. So if a page has been edited or a new page has been added, you will get an alert to say that, hey, there's something that's gone wrong on this page and it's causing an issue with your accessibility. You can also go to this website, tenon.io, and you can do a full automated check of your website. Here are some options that you can choose from. I find it very useful because you can change around the priority and importance of the features. It'll give you the exact code of where it's going wrong, and it will give you recommended fixes. And that will link back to the standards guide. Again, I will come back to this if we have time to look at it in more detail. CAPTCHA. Kryptonite. Yeah, this is not great, but it is getting better. And I want to share with you my anecdotal experiences of dealing with CAPTCHA. Does anyone run a CAPTCHA on their website? Can I ask you? Not afraid to admit, I'm not going to judge, I promise you. Okay, there's a few people, CAPTCHAs. They're great, they're effective. They're effective at blocking spam, that's what they're there to do. And in the case of reCAPTCHA, we're digitizing books, we're getting street addresses, we're identifying images now. So they have a good thing that you're giving back to the digital community in the way that Google operates it. But there are problems for some people. So, if I may, I'm going to play you a short video, just very brief. I won't go into the whole thing. So I put this up on Google+, and this is very anecdotal evidence of me trying to solve every CAPTCHA that I come across. Now, for me, I usually refresh the the image probably like 5-6 times until I get one that I can solve. So we all know what they're like, and they can be pretty difficult, and yes, it would be a refreshable image at this point, but if you can see where I go wrong, let me know. I got it wrong. INGSKSUA. I think I got this one right, yeah. I was really happy with myself. So for someone like me who has dyslexia, mixing up the words and getting them jumbled up is the most common problem. So here I think I probably get ENTIARR. Oh, I got that one right, okay. But you can understand for someone with a cognitive disability, it's going to be very difficult for them to, putting in a CAPTCHA, understanding where they're going, and if that's a barrier for their entry, like they're giving up. Sorry, sorry, it's a bit of the music's going off here. That's just another barrier for entry. So they're going to give up very quickly. Okay, that one is the visual CAPTCHA. Has anyone ever tried an audio CAPTCHA? What do you think about audio CAPTCHAs? They're spawn of the devil, right? Because, and you'll know what I mean when I say that, because this is what in the 60s they say, oh, don't listen to those records backwards because it's, you're talking directly to the devil. So here you'll get an example of what I'm talking about.
Please type every number you hear. Spaces are not required.
I'm pretty sure that CAPTCHA told me to go fuck myself at this point.
Once again, the numbers are.
Wait for it. Yeah, you can hear it too? It's the devil, something's going on there. So do you think I'll get it? Do you think I'll get this one? Nah. All right, go one more. The next one is, yeah, this is one special. Okay, so you know, it's not what the letters are on the board. It is only an alternate audio, like numbers. So I'm putting dashes in to indicate where I'm not sure. Okay. Not a successful day. But imagine if you're a person that that's the only way you can get past a CAPTCHA. How infuriating is that going to be? Signing up for email, Facebook, forum sites, any sort of security level measure where they try to block spam. And you know, there are other methods, and they're proven methods. The honey pot method is very good. But I understand why developers put these things in. They're very effective at blocking spam, but they're very important at blocking, potentially, your audience. Okay. Now this is something I did a talk here last year with first year web students, and it was 8 o'clock on a Monday morning, and I thought, oh, this will wake them up a bit. So we may not have time to kind of play it today, but take a photo or a snap of these slides. I'll have them after the thing, and maybe try something out at home. And it's something that I sort of invented to raise awareness of the reason why CAPTCHA is a bit of a pain. And what better way to get completely blind drunk? And you can just blame it on the CAPTCHAs. So the rules are, if you fail a CAPTCHA, written CAPTCHA, it's a drink. If you have to refresh it, it's double or nothing. You can do it up to 3 times. I don't think we want to get people falling on the floor. And an audio capture. If you solve one of those, everyone drinks. So that is the CAPTCHA drinking game. I'll just go over this very quickly. So this was just a very basic example of alt text. Why it's important to provide, I'm sorry it's not very good contrast up there with the green. That information tells us nothing. That's just a stock dump of the image file and with the .jpeg. However, if we have an alt text view of Manhattan and the Chrysler building, that explains to people what could be in the image. People who rely on screen readers need this information. And you know what? Google needs this information. Google is the largest screen reader, or blind user, I guess you could call it. The Google bot crawls the site and looks for text. So if you're not captioning your images, providing alt text, if you use, for example, infographics, very popular still, you're missing out on a lot of SEO potential, number one. And number two, you're excluding a portion of your audience. So I'll talk about captioning. And again, when you caption a video, the content is indexed. You're broadening your audience as well to non-English speakers. So I know on YouTube, if you have captions, you can have them translated into another language. Or you could take that whole transcript and have that translated as well. What do we want to do? We want to increase engagement. And you can do that with your captioning. I'll show you how. Anyone know this is This American Life podcast? Very, very popular, right? They began their transcription services of their podcast, as you can see there, in, when was it? August 2011, June, July, August 2011. The numbers speak for themselves. You're getting way more unique visitors, and they're going, some of them are going straight onto the transcript. There we go, a peak. We peaked over 60,000 people in round about January were viewing that transcript. These are all unique visitors. So coming from no transcripts to offering transcripts, you're getting more people. That's good. Okay, I know people got some questions, so I'm going to keep going. These are my 3 cool tools. And everyone knows Chrome, but I'm going to tell you what is in Chrome that you may not know about. Chrome and Chrome Vox has a screen reader built in. Now, if you use Chrome already, all you need to go is go into the plugin store, the extensions, and look for Chrome Vox, and boom, you've got a free screen reader. And not only that, you could use it on a Chromebook. That's a very cheap and affordable way for people to get an assistive technology device, a laptop. They also offer a web accessibility checker within Chrome. And if you look on the chromevox.com website, they have a Google course which you can do to become more proficient in accessibility using their tools. NVDA. Who knows NVDA? NVDA? NVDA, they're amazing. These guys have taken what was the dominant product, and in regards it still is, JAWS, which is the dominant screen reader, which costs, by the way, $2,000 roughly per user license. NVDA was, sorry? Okay. NVDA is developed here in Queensland. This is Jamie Ter. He went to Nudgee College. He's blind since birth, and he helped develop non-visual desktop access, which is a free and open source. And we love open source, don't we? Yes, we do. So if you want to get a screen reader that's open source and have it all play, it is a very well-regarded open source. It's being improved all the time. Where Chrome only works on the internet, NVDA will work on desktops as well. So check it out. Amara, I really like Amara. Amara allows you to caption any web video, regardless if you're the content owner or not. If you can see this slide here, this image, this was a news story a couple of years ago. Nas Campanella, she's a newsreader for Triple J. She is blind. But she wasn't. She became blind in her late, teenage years, I believe. So in that regard, it's too late to kind of pick up on any braille, unfortunately. So what does she do? She reads the news and she's very proficient at it. She listens to about 3 audio streams in both ears to read the news, to understand what's coming up next, to read what's in front of her. It's incredible. Unfortunately, when ABC News put that website out on YouTube, they neglected to caption it, which is unfortunate. So what did I do? Oh, I'll help someone out. I'll go to Amara. And I spent 20 minutes. What is it? A 6-minute video. Easy. Guys, you can do this with your videos right now. And I encourage you, even if it's a 3-minute video or less, give it a go. You'll find how easy it is once you get going. So, yes, the takeaway here is everyone is different. And accessibility means a lot to a lot of people. I want you to kind of think about that and use this video and share it with your friends and colleagues. Become that champion in your workplace, because we need people like you. Okay, and that's me done. Thank you.
If people are asking questions, would you mind repeating the question?
Of course.
Any questions for Sean?
I dare not turn around, no.
I've got a quick comment.
Oh, yeah.
WordPress 4.2 captioned the video that was included on the about page for the first time.
Okay.
So WordPress itself.
Definitely. And so the comment was WordPress 4.2 has captioned your page. Was it the front page? Did you say?
The video, put video captions on the announcement video for the next.
Oh, fantastic. WordPress are doing so much more in terms of accessibility now. There is, I didn't get to talk about it today, there's a wonderful working group called, well, the name of my talk, I made it easy for you to go and find. It's Make WordPress Accessible. You can find more information there about the standards, about the tools that are out there for WordPress itself. Get involved, be part of the developer conversation. Wonderful, wonderful resource and great community that are doing that. Hello.
Somebody who works with other clients,
Mm-hmm.
they might need to justify the investment in time and effort in making the site look a little bit different than what they would like it to look. So, can you give us some backup numbers? Like what kind of audience gets lost when this is not done?
Okay.
A numbers or percentage?
Yeah, I can.
Numbers and percentages.
Yeah, I can talk about that. So the question is, what are the numbers of the people that perhaps exist out there that, what are the statistics of people with a disability that would require the extra potential work that would go into developing a site? So what I can tell you is that in Australia, and basically the world, 1 in 5 people have disability. Now I don't know all the numbers off the top of my head, that's another slide that I had for another day. But what I can tell you from my experience, 1 in 20 people in Australia have a cognitive disability. Amy, did you know some more ones we were talking about before? Statistics?
I know Gianna was mentioning the other day that when it comes to highly impaired vision, there's about 300,000. And you're looking at about, I think it's about 4 million, etc. with cognitive disability.
Right.
It's really hard to put a number on these things because it's, for example, like you were talking about age and stuff, you might not have that vision impairment when you're younger. You might have a car accident that makes you deaf. You might have, there's all these different things that
Correct.
can occur, so it's quite hard, I think, to put a hard number on it.
Yes. Yeah, thanks for that extra comment. In terms of why do we do the things we do, it's because the people are out there and if we can, then we should. If the technology exists, then I think that we should. Just why do we spend so much on SEO? We want to be the best. Why not be the best at accessibility?
Yeah.
You know.
You can look at the two of them together.
Certainly, SEO and accessibility, like I was talking about before, they meld very well together. You know, the extra keywords that you might be getting out from captioning and transcription, there are some advantages there. So when we look at accessibility, we look at the end user, not the end result. Yeah. Hey.
Just on CAPTCHAs, do you have any suggestions for alternatives?
Alternatives to captioning? Well, ASL is very good. Is that what you?
No, CAPTCHA.
Oh, CAPTCHA, sorry. Honeypot method is very good, where basically you're telling a bot to fill in information in a form that the user can't see. So if someone was using a screen reader, for example, a sighted person wouldn't see this form, this entry, but a screen reader would come down and say, do not fill out this form. It would be a junk data, which a robot would obviously just fill in with junk data. So that's what we call the honeypot method. So what you're doing is you're trapping the robots, and there's no CAPTCHAs involved.
There is a Mollem, is a honeypot that has a WordPress button as well.
Yeah, so
Mollem, M-O-L-L-O-M.
M-O-L-L-O-M, Mollem. It's a plugin for WordPress.
On Tweet,
Yes. Sweet.
Gravity Forms.
Gravity Forms, yeah. Genesis, is that right? They're working on that, so yeah. Yes, hi.
I was about to ask about alternatives to CAPTCHAs and if there are any examples you've got or favourite plugins for it, that sort of thing.
Yeah, basically the ones that we're talking about. I do harp on about how bad CAPTCHAs are. I know honeypot method, but I haven't dealt with it so much in day-to-day. I just know how it affects me and how it can affect other people. But there are other ways. In fact, we did, a couple of years ago, ACAN lobbied, I think it was the Australian government and a lot of other corporates, Google, Microsoft, Telstra, to remove CAPTCHAs from their website. Telstra has effectively removed all CAPTCHAs from their website based on that sort of action, based on signing a petition. So if the users want it, they can kind of interact, and Telstra did the right thing and they removed it, so that was really awesome. Yes, hello.
Good, thanks for the talk, it's very great.
Cool.
I just want to ask you one thing, how to raise awareness among the development community, because I'm actually graduated from the same uni, so that's 5 years, and then working in the industry for 10 years. This is the first year I actually became aware of accessibility issues, and when developing something for any sort of technology, neither companies or universities kind of give you the head start when you actually start in the industry, you're aware of issues there. So do you have any suggestions, or do you see any progress in the last years or so?
Okay, long question, but I'll get to that. So the question was, as a developer, or it doesn't matter, anyone who's involved in in the web, how do we engage people around us to get them to know about accessibility, why it's important? How do we create that advocacy? I would say the best way to do it is learn a bit about yourself, and perhaps even put your hand up to go and talk at a meetup, or get to know some people in the coding community. And go to a meetup itself. Brisbane, there's the Brisbane Web Accessibility and Inclusive Design meetup, which I started, but I'm no longer running it because I now live at the Sunshine Coast. But they have over 100 members now, and those talks are held every month out at Griffith University. And you're going to get a lot of information, and you're going to meet the users too. You're going to meet people who it affects. If you start talking to people with disabilities and start to understand the technology they use, assistive technology. Understand, I think the first time, like you, I ever found out about it, I was just blown away. I sat down with a blind person and I said, tell me, what is your utopia for internet access? And it was just the most amazing discussion I'd ever had with someone to describe what they do and how it affects them. And they're skeptical and they laugh about it. They have shortcuts that they can get working for them. But, that made me want to get into what I do now. And it's, talk about it, learn more. There's videos out there. Use some of the tools. Use a screen reader. It's very easy. You'll understand how your code works as well. There are some ideas.
One last question.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the things that conflicts with discussions I regularly have with our graphic designers is please do not have text as graphics in buttons.
Yeah.
And that's that's wrong.
Yeah, but in fact, that's actually a specific WCAG checkpoint, text as graphics. That's a problem. But we can do alt text, but there are better ways of doing it, and we know there are better ways of doing it. Designers are just a little bit lazy, don't we say? No, I'm kidding. I know some of you designers in here. So I didn't get to repeat that question, but if that's it, thank you so much, guys. I hope you learned a bit more today, and thank you so much for having me. Come and talk to me after if you want. Okay.